As a result of the Troubles, people started to shift around Belfast because they felt less safe perhaps in certain areas. But then from the 1990s, I think in particular, you have a growth in higher education, a growth in student numbers. Universities are seen as a space for thinkers, for intellectuals, for people who have alternative views.
Up a fucking ride, Merry Christmas!
They were in the minority, the students, so they kind of did more what they were told at that point in time, I guess, The pressure point, particularly in the Holylands, is that because of the nature of Belfast, students can't just go and live anywhere. Your mum and dad might not be too happy if you just put a pin in a map and decided you were going to live in the cheapest part of Belfast where you could find a house, because they'd be thinking, well, who are the neighbours? What's their cultural background? What will they think of your cultural background? A lot of landlords begin to see the Holylands as an opportunity to come in and buy property, buy a 2-up, 2-down house, convert it into a 6-bedroom house. How many students can you squeeze in here? How much profit can you make out of this tiny house?
It's a dump, I am struggling out in the gap, cold, right? Mould in the houses, right? We don't need mould in our houses. Shut up. No, because the Holylands, they don't care about us, they just care about getting their money for the rent every month.
It's a student area, by and large, isn't it? There are too many students there, that's the problem. They've been squeezed into a small area. They're architecturally quite attractive houses. If they were in a certain area of Manchester or London, people would be paying £600,000-700,000 for those tiny houses. It's primarily a nationalist student area, not a mixed area in the way it would have been in the past. Add into that now you've got substantial numbers of migrant individuals, Roma, people from African communities, refugees. The Holylands would have been the place where if you were in a minority political viewpoint, like you were a communist or a socialist or a trade unionist, we find lots of them living in the Holylands. So it's a bohemian area, an area where people who lived slightly alternative lifestyles perhaps felt safer. The Holylands probably allowed a little bit of leeway for different types of behaviour. So it's always been a kind of an interesting area. It's probably the most interesting area in terms of Belfast, in terms of its churn and the way it's changed demographically over the course of the last 100 years.
Everyone kind of mutually understands each other, nobody really cares too much, everyone's just, as I said, here for the crack.
Tugtar anium og, Danach, Akshidam Hain, Goal, Nismo, Ruddy Dahul, and the Ruddy Milchanag and Shaw, Mullen Deeve, Shina Akon.
You'd never walk from Agincourt Avenue as far as the Holylands bar without bumping into someone. Could be someone you haven't seen in 2 weeks, or could have been someone that you were talking to this morning. There's a nice sense of community about the Holylands.
There's a lot of amazing stories from that area. A lot of amazing people have come from that area.
Ground, drinking den with litter strewn, landlord rule and student parties made a mess, the place in ruin.
Lots of the most important things that have happened in Belfast can be really viewed through a case study of the Holylands.
Not a pretty sight to see, till the people rose to fix up, they brightened up the sorry scene. They've turned it into Wildflower Alley, where the plants and the flowers thrive. Peace and joy in Wildflower Alley, full of colour